Hello learners, my name is Jacqueline Lemaine. Today we are going to deal with or to talk with sexual and gender-based violence. The definition of sexual and gender-based violence is sexual and gender-based violence encompasses a range of harmful acts that perpetrate against individuals based on their gender or their sexual orientation. It includes any violence or abuse that targets a person's sexuality or gender identity. Okay, sexual violence is any form of unwanted sexual contact or behavior, including rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and sexual exploitation. Another one, we have physical violence. Physical violence, these are acts of physical harm or injury inflicted on an individual based on their gender or sexual orientation, which may include domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and physical abuse. They include hitting, punching, slapping, kicking, and so many others. We have psychological and emotional violence. Verbal abuse, threats, intimidation, and other non-physical forms of aggression that undermine a person's sense of self-worth and well-being. That is psychological and emotional violence. We have harmful traditional practices. Example is the FGM, the female genital mutilation, forced marriage, killings, and other harmful customs that are rooted in gender inequality and discrimination. Examples of harmful traditional practices are the female genital mutilation, forced feeding of women, early marriages, taboos or practices preventing women from controlling their own fertility. What are the causes of sexual and gender-based violence in TVET institutions? We can look at some causes. 1. Gender inequality and power dynamics. TVET institutions may reflect broader societal norms where gender inequality persists. 2. Lack of awareness and education. Lack of awareness and education. There may be insufficient awareness and education about sexual and gender-based violence among students, and that can lead to gender-based violence. 3. Inadequate policies and enforcement. Weak or non-existent policies on preventing and responding to SGBV, that is sexual gender-based violence, in TVET institutions can relate environments where perpetrators face little consequences for their actions. 4. Social and cultural factors. Deep-rooted cultural factors, beliefs, and attitudes that perpetuate gender stereotypes and norms may contribute to the prevalence of SGBV. That these beliefs can include masculinity, femininity, and other roles and expectations of men and women within educational settings. Another one is economic factors. Economic disparities and financial vulnerabilities among students or staff can create situations where individuals are coerced or manipulated into compromising situations in exchange for financial support, grades, or job security. What are the effects of SGBV on learning institutions? Sexual and gender-based violence in technical and vocational education and training institutes can have profound effects on both the victims and the learning environment as a whole. Here are some key factors. Number 1, dropout rates. Students may choose to drop out of their programs altogether due to the trauma and challenges associated with sexual gender-based violence. Another one is institutional reputation. TVET institutions that fail to address SGBV effectively may suffer reputational damage. Number 3, fear and intimidation. The prevalence of SGBV can create a climate of fear and intimidation within TVET institutions. This is where students may feel unsafe, which can lead to increased absenteeism or reluctance to participation in certain activities. Number 4, academic disruption. Incidents of sexual gender-based violence can disrupt the academic environment by diverting attention away from learning and causing institutional upheaval. Number 5, psychological impact. Victims of SGBV may experience significant psychological trauma. This can hinder their ability to concentrate on their studies and affect their overall academic performance. We have physical health. Physical injuries resulting from sexual gender-based violence can directly impact students' health and ability to attend classes regularly. I have some solutions of sexual gender-based violence, and we will discuss some key solutions. Number 1, promote student leadership and engagement. Promote student leadership and engagement. Empower students to take leadership roles in preventing sexual gender-based violence through student organization, peer support networks, and awareness campaigns. Number 2, commit to long-term cultural change. Another one, develop and implement clear policies. These policies should include definition of sexual gender-based violence, protocols for reporting incidents, guidelines for investigation and disciplinary action, and provisions for support. Another solution is raise awareness and education. Ensure or educate students, staff, and faculty about SGBV, its impact, and the institutional policies and procedures. Another solution is promote gender equality and inclusivity. As a teacher or maybe a trainer, foster a gender-responsive and inclusive environment within TVET institutions. These include promoting equal opportunities for all students, regardless of gender. Another one, and the last one, is establish support services. Provide accessible and confidential support services for survivors of sexual gender-based violence, including counseling, medical assistance, legal aid, and referrals to external support organizations. Ensure these services are well published and readily available to to those in need. Thank you very much. I was your presenter, Madam Jacqueline.